welcome back to the Drinking Show, the radio problem, the social revolution, live, loud, and around the world here on MetalNationRadio.com, where united we do rock. Right now we got on the phone Ben Burnley from one of the nation's hottest bands right now, Breaking Benjamin, fresh off their debut tour that included shows like Rock on the Range, Louder Than Life, and Aftershock. Locally, they'll be stopping by here in Youngstown, Ohio, Saturday, November 7th at the Cavelli Center. Ben, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Hey, we're doing okay. Weather out here in Ohio today could be a little bit better, but it is weather. But Dark Before Dawn tour just wrapped up a couple days ago at California at Aftershock. How would you grade the tour since your return back into music?
Everything's been going great, man. The fans have been incredible. I mean, that's the whole reason why we're out doing what we're doing. And so we owe it all to them, and it's all for them. As long as they're rocking out, then we're having a good time, and they're still rocking out and being absolutely amazing. That, you know, it just validates the whole reason why we even exist as a band.
And as far as the fans, I'm trying to think of a return of a band in modern history that's had such a magnitude that you guys were able to pull for that. I mean, from the announcement to the debut, how was the experience? We got some questions kind of behind the scenes, but just what was the feel like when you announced, hey, we're coming back, and the fan reaction to get from just that announcement alone?
Yeah, I mean, it was just absolutely incredible. Like, we knew that fans were, wanting the band to continue to make music, and so we were more than happy to once things were resolved to be able to do that again. But we had no idea how amazing the fans would be, and allowing us to have all of the achievements that we've had has just been overwhelming, and just we're nothing but grateful and humble to every single fan out there and every single media outlet that supports Breaking Benjamin, and all of those accomplishments. Like, it's all because of them. Not, we don't really take the credit for it. We give all the credit to our fans.
A very humble answer, my friend.
You are such a successful band, and do you sometimes feel like you just want to get away from it all and just like maybe go somewhere, kind of get away from it all and just relax and not have to worry about the stress of touring and everything else?
Never. My life has changed tremendously since I've become ill, so I just appreciate every single gift that's given to me now. I appreciate life a lot more. I appreciate all of the opportunities that I'm given and allowed to have. And so to say that I wanted to get away from it all would kind of be insulting to all of these amazing gifts and all of these amazing experiences that I'm allowed to have in this life. Even though my life has a lot of suffering and pain in it, it has a lot of joy and treasures in it as well.
Now, speaking on your illness, and I guess that's the only way to describe it from doing research, you've been to numerous amounts of doctors. Can you describe for those who might not be aware of what it is you're going through and what it does to you?
I've been to so many doctors and haven't gotten a diagnosis, so there's no name to put on whatever it is. So the best way I could describe the actual symptoms themselves, and I have to just draw comparisons because there's really nothing else that I could do to accurately describe it. It's like if you were to take like some kind of noxious chemical paint or something and you like huffed it, how you would feel like just awful. You would feel like sort of concussed and dizzy, and you just feel sick and just gross, and you just wouldn't be able to like get your bearings, and you'd feel like just like death. It feels like there's that and constant like muscle and joint pain, and my joints are always like cracking, and so all of that rolled into one is kind of what I live with every single second of every single day. And the symptoms don't come and go. They're constantly there.
Been able to not necessarily, obviously not cure, but to at least draw the pain away, or at least numb you from knowing the pain is there? Have you been able to find anything?
Well, one of the problems with this particular thing is that concussive, like paint, fumey, whatever you want to call it, dizziness type sensation. Like anything that I take, anything at all that I take, just makes that even worse. And that's like the worst part of the whole thing to begin with. So anything I would take for the pain would make that worse. Anything I would take for mental distress would make that worse. Like all medicines make that like toxic, awful feeling like much, much worse. And I guess that has something to do with that. My body just doesn't process things right. And so I'm pretty much not left with any alternative. I can't take anything. I can't, there's nothing that's gonna, like, it has to be like a cure or nothing. Like I can't take anything that would treat it, because any drugs just make it worse. That's why I don't drink. That's why I don't do drugs. So I can't take the credit for having not drinking and stuff. It's because I'm just too sick to drink, and if I did, it would make my symptoms worse. I just basically have to deal with it and suffer through it. And there's just no escape from it. There's no escape from the pain and the symptoms, and so I just do my best to just deal with it.
Definitely does not sound like anything anybody would want to go through ever. As far as being able to sacrifice your body and your mentality from going through all of that too while being on stage, I can't say it's a relief, but at least, I mean, does it give you something to be able to play for all these people? I mean, because you literally sound like a road warrior living through this and then getting out in front of thousands of people while you're still suffering to this to make sure that they have a good time. You're literally throwing your body on the grenade while everybody else almost enjoys the outcome of it. So first off, I guess thank you so much for being able to do that.
Well, thanks. But for me, even in my personal life, like, you just get to a point where making other people happy is like the only way that like I can like experience joy myself. You know what I mean? Like, it's selfish. Like, I make people happy because I like the way it makes me feel. Like,
yeah, but that's an
I don't know
honest
if that's selfish.
Answer. No, it's an honest answer though, because I think everybody likes to see enjoyment from other people. I mean, when we can make somebody smile, it's a physiological reaction to where we kind of smile too. When you've got 40,000, let's just say on a small night, screaming back your lyrics at you, it might not cure the pain, it might not even alleviate it, but at least it makes it to where your sacrifice means something to so many people.
Exactly, and that you hit the nail right on the head. Like, if I'm gonna I'll suffer whether I'm laying in bed or up on stage making people happy. So why not just do the latter and do what I can while I'm here? And there is brief moments when I get caught up in the show where the crowd's like energetic and being awesome, where it's just my focus is in the moment and not on my symptoms. And then like a second later, when I take a step and I'm in agonizing pain, then I'm like, oh, okay, there you are.
Where have you been? We knew you weren't going to go way too far.
But anyways, so all of that stuff and all of these gifts are just like, I don't take a single bit of it for granted, and I'm just grateful to be out playing for people that really, really want to hear the band and want to see the band. And I owe everything that I am and every accomplishment that I've made to our amazing fans and you guys as well for supporting us. And it's just a pleasure to be here, and I'm just trying to enjoy every bit of life that I'm given.
Well, on a personal note, Ben, my daughter, she went through a really, really dark time in her life. She's a teenager. And a friend bought her one of your albums, the second studio album, We're Not Alone. And it changed her life. And she wanted me to thank you for that, because even though it was, still years ago, it still changed her life. And on a personal, I want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really awesome to hear stories like that, because it really validates like what we do. It really makes it seem like it's not. I can't stand the thought of being a selfish person or being gratifying. So when you hear stuff like that and you actually help somebody, it really touches my heart. So thank you so much for sharing that, and tell her that I wish her the best, and I hope to see her when we come into town.
Thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate that.
Yeah, bring her to the show if she wants to come to the show.
Okay.
Well, Ben, we don't want to take up too much more of your time, but we wanted to have some fun questions with you. So do you want to have some fun?
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You and I grew up being huge Nirvana fans, so I wanted to, before we get really to that, recently you said you went back and listened to Nirvana during your rebuilding time. What are some of their tracks that really stand out to you on an inspirational level?
Well, I hear Smells Like Teen Spirit on the radio to this day, and I've heard the song about 50 million times, and every time I hear it, it's still just this amazing anthem. And it's just the way it was recorded, like everything about it is just hits me in my soul every time. And to say that about such a popularized song, it means a lot, because that's exactly what I'm saying, is that it's so popularized, it's so played over and over for decades, literally, and it still is an incredible, amazing song that I could listen to. Well, Nirvana really shaped not only my band, but a lot of bands that exist, and so it's just more of like respecting where you came from kind of thing than being a fan.
Ben, let's talk video games. I got a 2-part question for you.
You got my attention.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, first off,
say video games, and I'm like a cat. My head goes up. Like,
yes, me too. I'm really excited. 2-part question. Fallout 4 coming up. Is that something you're interested in, or is there another game that you're excited about coming out?
No, Fallout 4 absolutely is on the top of the list. Also, the new Doom, which I don't think has it's just a repurpose. They're just calling it Doom.
Mm-hmm.
They're not making it a Doom 7 or 5 or whatever.
Just a remake of it.
Did you know that they're doing that? Did you ever hear of the franchise called Doom?
Mm-hmm. I have, and in passing.
Yeah, they're making a new one, and they're like rebooting it, and it looks great. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to Fallout. I'm really looking forward to Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get to play any of the beta?
I played the beta.
Okay.
It was pretty good. It was a beta, so there were some frustrating, gameplay issues with it. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I hope that they expand the weapons system on it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. And even if it sucks ass, I'll still play it because it's Star Wars. But I don't think it's going to suck ass.
I've heard it was very challenging, even in the demo. It was really kind of a hard one to crack.
Well, you just got to you only got 2 game modes. And so you just got to kind of adapt to the way the game is supposed to be played. And I think once people did that, they finally got where it was coming from. And I hope that the game developers take the feedback and really develop something special. One thing that I did agree with that a lot of people were saying about it is that, if you want to ride in like an AT-AT or a TIE fighter or be a Jedi Knight, they're just like coins that you pick up like on the battlefield. And most of the people were kind of not excited about that because they thought that it should be earned like a kill streak, as in like Call of Duty's kill streak system.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that. I think you should be rewarded for being a good player, and you should earn those things instead of like just randomly picking them up. But in the same breath, to play devil's advocate, it's cool too because it allows people to still have fun without having to, be the best at like video games. Because at the end of the day, the perfect game is one that like a professional can play and like a total novice can play, and they could both have an equal amount of fun playing. It's the trick to a good game.
What is your favorite video game of all time?
I wouldn't say it's like my favorite game, but I think my favorite franchise is like the Arkham Knight franchise. So not like the one game in particular, but all of the Batman Arkham Knight games.
Dark one
just
will
because
be very happy with that.
I really, really enjoy the fighting system and the navigation system, and it's been awesome to see how it's expanded with every entry in it, and the way that they fleshed out like all of the characters, even like the side characters like Calendar Man. The lesser known ones, like there's a bunch of Easter eggs that are really fun to find in there. And then other than that, I would say the Fallout series.
Yes, that is my favorite. So I was kind of hoping you would say that.
Yeah, Fallout for sure. And Skyrim and that type. That's kind of like Fallout-ish. So I'm really looking forward to the next installation in the Elder Scrolls, which is going to take place in, I think, the Black Marsh area. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that on the next gen.
Now, do you play the Xbox
console.
One right now, or are you still on the 360?
Yeah, I play Xbox One because I have a lot of friends that are Xbox Live and they don't have PlayStation. So I made most of my friends on multiplayer games, and so we've always all had Xboxes. So I have a PlayStation, and I have all of the systems, and I have like an Alienware that's pretty fucking pimped out.
Oh, nice.
But for the most part, I play on Xbox, especially for multiplayer games, just because it's moderated and all of my friends are on there. And just with my PC, with my Alienware, I'll play like mostly like single player games and just veg out. Yeah, I don't like the I love PC gaming because of how easy it is, but I kind of like pimped mine out so that it's really console-ish, where I use like a Windows controller, and I have like Xpatter and Pinnacle, which are programs that let you map a controller. So I really, really don't like WASD, the mouse and keyboard type stuff, because it to me is just, it's like you feel like you're playing on a computer. You know, you don't feel, I don't feel immersed.
It's not quite as fun. I was going to say, not to jump in here, but during the Battlefront beta, I played on the PC, and I'm primarily PC gamer. But for whatever reason, I was finding myself getting my ass kicked while playing with a controller on the computer, so I switched to the WSAD keyboards, Leia. I did get a little bit better, but I completely understand. When you're at a mouse and keyboard, you feel like you're almost doing business, even if you're blowing shit up, to where with a controller in your hand, you're a little bit more relaxed. You're actually playing a game as opposed to the same thing you would do doing databases or a spreadsheet.
Yeah, exactly. And the mouse and keyboard controls are faster. You can react faster because radius of motion is different on it. But if you level the playing field where everybody has a controller versus everybody having a mouse, just because it's faster doesn't mean that it's better. It just means that you have to have it so that everybody's playing on one format or the other. But the controller I like just because you feel like you're holding a weapon in your hands, and a mouse doesn't feel that way. A mouse feels like a mouse, so it just doesn't really translate to me.
Right, you want to be able to emerge into it and actually cut loose, as opposed to, I'm holding it right now, and this thing isn't going to stomp anything. But I pick up a controller, I'm ready to kick some ass.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, Ben, thank you so much for making the time for us today, and best of luck on the upcoming tour. We're going to try to catch you in Youngstown, Ohio, Saturday, November 7th, when you're going to be at the Covelli Center, headlining with Shinedown and Seven Dust. Be sure to keep up with Breaking Benjamin online at breakingbenjamin.com. Follow him on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So thank you so much for taking the time today, sir.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for all your support, too. On behalf of the band, we really appreciate it and are grateful for you guys to, help us out with moving forward into the future. So thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thank you. Take care, buddy.